Oh, hi there, Tom here from the Run Testers with another running shoe versus. In this video, myself and Nick are going to be taking a look at the Asics Gel-Nimbus 25 and the Saucony Triumph 20. Now, I sent the Gel-Nimbus 25 from Sport Shoes. I'm not paid to review the shoe, so I can say whatever I want. But a big thanks to Sport Shoes for getting me these shoes so that I could do this versus. Right, let's jump in and check out the shoes. The Asics Gel-Nimbus costs £175 or $160. It weighs in at 298 grams or 10.5 ounces for men in the size 8, and the drop is 8mm. The Saucony Triumph 20 costs £155 or $160. It weighs in at 264 grams or 9.3 ounces for men in a size 8, and the drop is 10mm. The Gel-Nimbus 25 sees some big changes from the previous version. As well as noticeably revamped aesthetics, the shoe now firmly sits in the max cushioned category. The new FF Blast Plus Eco cushioning, combined with Asics Pure Gel technology, aims to give a softer, more comfortable experience for easy and longer runs. There's an engineered knit upper for a stretchy feel that's also designed to offer a good level of breathability, a knit collar construction for a plush, flexible fit, an Ortholite X55 sock liner for extra comfort, and a healthy covering of AHAR outsole rubber for grip and durability. The Saucony Triumph line is one of the most popular for runners that want a high level of cushioning for easy sessions, long runs and daily training miles. The Triumph 20 sees some upgrades to its predecessors with a modified Power Run Plus midsole foam to make the ride lighter and softer, along with a new geometry that sees an increased rocker and a smoother transition. In addition, there are changes to the lacing system and the upper material. Other design features include a Power Run Plus sock liner for comfort, a heel counter for better stability, and a healthy covering of outsole rubber for grip and protection. Nick, fit in these two shoes, how have they been for you?
No concerns on fit in my normal size. Yeah, haven't had a problem at all. I think maybe the Sauconys fit slightly better, closer. There's quite roomy in the toe box in Nimbus, but not in a way that's bad. So yeah, fine, true to size.
Yeah, I say true to size in both, and I also agree. I think the Triumph is a little bit more comfortable. Okay, so the run test in these two shoes, Nick, how have you found them both?
Two shoes I really enjoyed running in. I'd say that to start. We obviously had the Triumph a while back last year, and it was a shoe that we really liked at the time. We still really like. It's a cushion shoe, but it's kind of a classic cushion shoe, which these days is basically a daily trainer because all these max cushion shoes are coming out and really ramping up the stakes. But it's a very comfortable shoe. The midsole feels pretty great out of the box, but actually I think also softens up a little bit over time as well. It's got reasonably versatile ride. You can do faster runs, and it's a bit of a throwback to what the Triumph used to be, I'd say, in the early days of the Triumph ISO. When I got into the line, really liked using it, raced in it a couple of times on longer events when I was starting to get into running, and I think it's just a really comfortable shoe, but actually has a bit more about it than these max cushion shoes that we'll come on to, but that in that you can do your daily training in it really well. I think it's just a really good all-round shoe. You know, it's not lightweight and speedy, but it is actually quite versatile for the size, and I think the changes Saucony made to the 20 made it a bit better, a bit softer, a bit more responsive and very enjoyable. So yeah, Triumph's a big tick from me. You're a big fan as well, right, Tom?
Love the Triumph. Absolutely, well, especially the 20. I think the 20 is the best Triumph that's ever been released. There's some nice updates in this one, mainly around the midsole, that just make it a fantastic, versatile shoe. I probably put this at the top of my pile. I think I've done it a few times where we talked about best cushion shoes, and this always comes like the top three for me. And I just enjoy it. I think it's just got a nice. It's not just a versatile cushion shoe. It's got a little bit more about it. It's enjoyable to run in. There's a little bit of energy return in it as well. I really like doing long training runs in this shoe. It just feels great.
Yeah, I agree, and I do like. I mean, that seems like a massive level of cushioning, and I never really thought it never even occurred to me that you need to get more cushioning than that. But you know, there is this new category now, very max cushion. Nimbus is now part of that category, whereas previous versions were very much more like the Triumph, as in slightly more versatile shoes. But Nimbus is a great max cushion shoe. Like, I did enjoy running easy in it. It was really fun to pull on at the end of hard weeks. I found it very comfortable. It's a bit softer than the Triumph. It's got pretty smooth ride, maybe a slightly more of a rocker than the Triumph. And just cruising along, you know, easy runs, no problem at all. Really, really enjoyable. Actually, the run I did the day after a horrible 10-mile cross-country race, legs were battered, and just that was a great shoe to pull on. And it does protect the legs. I mean, a lot of the time, I'd say it's too much cushioning for me. Like, I don't necessarily need a cushion shoe that much, but there are times when it is a lot of fun to pull on a shoe shoe that is that cushion, but isn't overly squishy and soft. Like, you can roll through your miles well. You're not sinking into a soft bed of foam, but it isn't a versatile shoe. I don't think, like, picking up the pace in it is not very enjoyable. It's a really big shoe. It's fairly heavy. I mean, the Triumph is probably a similar weight, but it's a lot more responsive if you do want to run fast. So yeah, Nimbus, I think it's a great max cushion shoe. Just a question of whether you need a max cushion shoe is it? Well, it depends on how much you want one in your roundup. You didn't like it quite as much as me, I don't think, Tom, though.
Well, actually, I'm glad you asked me that, because since I reviewed it the first time, I've used it a few more times, and I've warmed to it quite a bit now. I did a 20k in it, 21k in it yesterday, and I really enjoyed it for that. It seemed to work quite nicely. I think there's a bedding in period with it. I definitely felt it when I first started running in it. It did feel a bit firmer than what I prefer normally with like the more V4 and things like that. So it wasn't as keen when I first did it, but now I've done a few more miles in it, I've really sort of got with the flow of it. And yeah, I think it's a really good, solid max cushion shoe. I think it's probably aimed at being accessible to everyone. So, and I think it is, because it's sort of that nice balance. It's not too soft, it's not too firm. So anybody can use it and sort of enjoy it. It's not that versatile as a shoe, but as many max cushion shoes aren't. But yeah, I think it's solid, good, and definitely a nice improvement on the previous Nimbus in some ways. Although I do get annoyed that they called it the Nimbus, because it's essentially a new shoe when you compare it to the previous version.
I'd say one thing that didn't improve on was probably the outsole. The outsole's fine on it. It was a bit slick out of the box, but it has roughed up and grips okay for me now. But I definitely think the Saucony's got a better outsole that's going to last a bit longer and grip a bit better. So that's a tick on the Saucony side, I'd say. But yeah, Nimbus, I agree. I didn't love it out of the box. But by the time the review came around, I'd done a lot more miles in it, and I did warm to it. So it probably does soften up a little bit. But yeah, it's okay. It's a shoe. I don't know. I don't know exactly where I stand because it is so expensive and so much hype around it. But it's just a solid cushion shoe, and yeah, it's really where you stand on this max cushion shoe, idea category, whether you're going to really enjoy it or not.
Yeah, I think if price wasn't a factor, I would say that the Nimbus is a good shoe. But let's save this for the verdict.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so verdict, Nick. We've started talking about it a little bit, but what's your verdict on these two shoes?
I think the Triumph is just a really nice balanced shoe, and a shoe I very happily recommend to anyone. I think it's just for some people, like myself, it would be a shoe that's a cushion shoe in my rotation that I just use for easy runs, long runs, occasionally maybe something slightly faster, but most time I'd reserve it for that. But then for lots of other runners, newer runners, it can be a great all-round shoe, daily trainer. You can use it for everything, racing it over longer distances, and just it's an enjoyable shoe. And I think the Nimbus isn't like that. It's not as we call it accessible. It's a very accessible shoe. Anyone can run in it and they'll enjoy it, but it's not accessible in terms of the price, and I think it is a bit more niche. So at the same time, newer runners could use it for everything, like in the same way as the Triumph, but are you going to go and spend that much money on your first running shoe when there are better options for new runners like the Triumph for less? So I do like the Nimbus. I really did enjoy running in it. I think it's a really good long run option, but I think it's a bit overkill, potentially, compared to what you really need from a running shoe. But if you do love max cushion shoes, it's a really good example of that. And if you always have a max cushion shoe in your rotation, I'd probably put it up there as one of the best max cushion shoes you can get. But I think the Triumph is a better shoe all round for value and just general running experience across a variety of runs. How about you, Tom? Yeah,
so I think the Triumph is just a fantastic shoe for anyone. I mean, anybody would enjoy having this in their shoe collection, and they'd find a good use for it, I think. I've used it for loads of different ones. You're talking about the outsole. I think the outsole is fantastic on it. When I was training in this shoe, about a year ago now, about 9 months, I actually enjoyed running a little bit faster in it as well, which I wasn't expecting, and I don't often get to do in a lot of cushion shoes, or I don't want to do in a lot of cushion shoes, but I do like doing it in this shoe. So I think it's a great shoe, and also it's been out for a while now, so you can probably get it cheaper now. The new version hopefully will be coming out sometime this year, so it's just a great all-round in every way, like cost effective and stuff like that. Nimbus, yeah, I do like the Nimbus. I mean, the price for me is just a major issue. It's for that, was it £175 in the UK? That is a ridiculous amount of money for a max cushion shoe, which has quite a specific use case, especially when you compare it with some of the other max cushion shoes out, which are significantly lower than that. So my favourite max cushion shoe, the New Balance More V4, that's like £140. That's a massive difference between those two shoes, and I still prefer that shoe. So I think it's a difficult one to say, go and buy this shoe because of that price. I think it's a good shoe. I think you'd be happy with it, and I think it's probably, I think they're both very applicable to everyone. So anybody can wear these shoes and go, yeah, they're fine, I'm enjoying them. Although you probably say it more about you enjoy the Triumph 20 more, just because it's nice and balanced. But for me, it comes down to one, price, and two, the fact that I do like the Triumph 20 more.
Yeah, and with Nimbus, obviously, it will come down in price. The sales will come in, but when you have such a high starting point, it's harder to see it come down. And there are lots of shoes with high price. Like the Invincible is also very expensive, but I do think the Invincible, although I probably don't like it quite as much as the Nimbus right now, has a more unique attraction. It's a very unique experience running in the Invincible. Like, it's got that very squishy midsole, whereas the Nimbus is, it's not that different to lots of things. I mean, Asics has whacked that foam in so many shoes now, and a lot of them are cheaper. And it's a different experience than the Nimbus, but not different enough to justify spending that much money. And even when it comes down, it's going to be expensive. Whereas the Triumph is just dependable, reliable, lots of sales, lower starting price. It's a shoe I'd talk to people about quite a lot if they were getting into running that and like the Glycerin 20. Whereas the Nimbus, I wouldn't necessarily be throwing out recommendations for anyone really, unless they just love max cushion shoes and want to try all of them.
Yeah. That's it from me and Nick on these shoes. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell, all those sorts of things. And if you go into the caption below, you can find a link to our podcast as well. So if you want to listen to that on your run, it might help you stay motivated and give you some useful advice on various things about running that we talk about in the pod. So thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.